Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Quick Fire Deep Dive. It's been a while since the last one of these. I should say, an episode on the new pornographers to kick off this series. Then I did Towns Van Zandt. And now there will be a couple more of these in sort of quick succession after this one. Um, Tackling a short discography today in the Lemon Twigs, who just released a new album this year, which was the first Lemon Twigs album I ever heard. And without spoiling too much, I really liked it. And that made me want to check out the rest of the discography. And I thought this would be a good avenue to do that. They have 4 studio albums, so they're quite a newish band. And yeah, it was an interesting experience for me. And we'll get into why that is. At number 4, I have Songs for the General Public, their 2020 album. This is just a 6 out of 10 for me. Really did not start well for me. The opener, Hell on Wheels, is the opposite of my taste. Anytime someone is trying to sound like Mick Jagger, it's just not going to be for me. I have a very, you know, difficult relationship with Mick Jagger's vocals, and putting on that sort of over the top voice was really not doing it for me. This is probably their most outwardly theatrical album, and this is a band with a rock opera about a monkey going to school. So that is saying a lot. Luckily for me, Live in Favor of Tomorrow is a great follow-up track, superb rhythm section on that one. A lot of this comes down to this sort of like over-the-top glamminess is not my favorite style, but like these two guys are such great singers. The instrumentation throughout their records is incredible, but the songs here are just not to my tastes, really. No One Holds You is kind of cool. Not my favorite style again, but pretty cool hook. Fight is an okay song, elevated by an awesome guitar solo near the end. Moon features another vocal performance that I could do without. It does feel a bit phony to me, this over-the-top glamminess, because I maybe because I came to it having heard their newest album, which is nothing like that. And so this sort of feels very forced in comparison, knowing that they can play it straight and make something really great. The Baroque flavored The One is pretty nice, but it's pretty unremarkable at the same time. But I think Ashamed is a great closer and is really nice. So it's a real hodgepodge in terms of quality. It's a bit too quirky, feels almost inauthentic, and didn't really grab me. Aside from a couple songs, mainly Live in Favor of Tomorrow and Ashamed. Then my number 3 is their debut album, Do Hollywood, which I also have as a 6 out of 10, unfortunately. I don't. I think this is less that it's too theatrical and more that they didn't really figure out what they wanted to be. This feels more like it's just replicating music that they like. Like mainly it's the Beach Boys in one corner and Sparks in the other corner, right? The doo-wop influenced opener, I Want to Prove to You. It's pretty cool, pretty unlike the rest of the album. It has a unique production sound, and I say unique not necessarily in a good way. I think this is their worst album in terms of production, but I do think it has more highlights than Songs for the General Public. And they sort of play around with these bizarre song structures, which makes them very unique. The big standout song for me is How Lucky Am I, which is very Beach Boys-esque, a song that keeps it simple and maybe a precursor to what they would do later in their career. But you get songs like Harumta, which is so nuts. It's like trying too hard to be quirky. It's a debut with some promise, but some teething problems as well. So it's okay. I probably wouldn't really go back to it. My number 2, we're going to get a big jump here now, is to an 8 out of 10 to their 2018 album, their sophomore effort, Go to School, which, as referenced, this is a very odd concept for a concept album. It's a rock opera about a monkey going to school. Musically speaking, though, I think this was the best of their first 3 albums. The Student Becomes the Teacher is a bit darker sounding than the debut album, and I love the big lush strings. Rock Dreams has this great full band feel, awesome drums and great guitar parts. I think there are some really ridiculous lyrics on this album, but I think on a lot of the tracks, it does come across more as endearing and charming than, silly and off-putting. The Lesson is an absolutely gorgeous song, really moving. The best vocals they've done up to that point. I love the funky small victories. Great way to start up side two. Switches up into the different parts with like banjo in some parts as well. Really cool. Wandering Ways continues this really strong start to the album. Again, the Beach Boys influence really clear on that song. You get a song like The Bully, which is very bossa nova flavored, pretty charming. The album has a really warm, inviting atmosphere. You get Lonely, which is one of my absolute favorites on the album. Sounds straight off the Ballad of Todd Rundgren, which is a great thing. The Coda is just fantastic. Queen of My School is the first real dud for me. Even if I do like the Alex Chilton-esque vocals, the song itself not really doing that much for me. Um, Never Know, also not fantastic, but the bass line of that song is killer. Born Wrong stroke Heart Song feels right out of a Broadway musical, which shouldn't work for me, but it kind of does. So you get a song like The Fire, which is first and foremost a story song, but has some great musical moments too. And the breakdown at the end is awesome. Um, the first disc of the album is definitely the strongest, but I respect the concept. Has their best songs of their first three albums for sure. The singing is amazing, and it's just like really ambitious, and I think they mostly pulled it off. 8 out of 10 for Go to School. And as I probably gave away very early in this video, my number one is Everything Harmony, their latest album, which I have as a 9 out of 10, and as it stands is my current album of the year. Yeah, this is the entire reason I wanted to do this video. Maybe slightly let down by the rest of the discography, but this album is focused, it's mature, and it's professional, which I don't think all three of those things apply to any of those first three albums. The production here is absolutely gorgeous. It's leaning more into like a more, I guess, mid-70s soft rock slash power pop sound. Really cool. When Winter Comes Around opens the album perfectly. Love the acoustic guitar and how it expands throughout the song. Then you just hit a run of insane tracks after that. In My Head, great single. Harkens back to late 70s power pop so well. Corner of My Eye really reminds me of the Mamas and the Papas. That was a love at first listen. Any Time of Day is so beautiful. Great lyrics. The chorus is so cheesy, but I don't care. It is just a total earworm. Then you get What You Were Doing, which returns to that sort of Big Star, Badfinger style. You get I Don't Belong to Me, insanely good ballad. Like stands up to the level of the music that they're inspired by, which I don't think they reached before this point, to be honest. Every Day is the Worst Day of My Life, a lovely little acoustic song. Love the guitar part, really propels the song. There's plenty of space in the mix that lets the songs breathe, which I don't think was the case before this. What Happens to a Heart is an instant classic, just beautiful orchestration, and the chorus is the ultimate earworm. Still It's Not Enough has this sort of odd time signature and arpeggiated guitars, which give it almost like a Midwest emo feel, like math rock in the instrumentation, which is really cool. But obviously, you've got these like super smooth 70s style vocals. Born to Be Lonely is this gorgeous waltz. Again, what a chorus. Ghost Run Free is a much needed jolt of energy after a run of ballads. What a great jangle pop song. Even people who love this album, I don't really hear them talk about that song, and I love it. Their songwriting has never felt this assured and confident and unapologetic. And it feels like they have some kind of identity beyond just being quirky. And, that's what I love about this album. It speaks to my taste so well. It's superbly crafted pop songs sung to perfection. Just a lovely, lovely album with consistently great songs. And I think it'll be tough to beat as my album of the year. Which, of course, leads us to my top 10 songs. Now, being honest, all my songs are from my top two albums, and there's only 3 songs from Go to School, so we're getting 7 songs from my number one album. I can't really remember an album where it was this much of a landslide in terms of the amount of songs from the albums, even Guns N' Roses. But of course, it's a shorter discography, so it's probably to be expected. My number 10 is from Go to School. It's Wandering Ways. Number 9, also from Go to School, Small Victories. Number 8 from Everything Harmony is Born to Be Lonely. Number 7 from Go to School is Lonely. And then my top 6 are all from Everything Harmony. Number 6 is I Don't Belong to Me. Number 5 is What You Were Doing. Number 4 is In My Head. Number 3, Ghost Run Free. Number 2, Corner of My Eye. And number 1, What Happens to a Heart. So there you have it. Would I consider myself a Lemon Twigs super fan? No, but it was interesting to go back and listen to their evolution up to this point, and I am more excited to check out what they do next now that they've found this new style, which maybe suits my taste a bit more. But if you guys watching are into Queen or Sparks or these sort of over the top glammy bands, maybe you'll get more out of Lemon Twigs' earlier stuff than I did. And even then, Go to School was pretty awesome in terms of its music as well. I enjoyed that album quite a lot. So let me know what you think down below. I'm sure Lemon Twigs fans will have a lot to say about my list. But yeah, hopefully you check out maybe some of my top 10 songs if you've never heard of the band. And yeah, with all that said, like if you enjoyed, please subscribe. And hopefully I'll catch you soon.